Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pearson, the JP8 Report, episode 406. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I say that because I do JP's morning brief from 6:30 to 7, which ended an hour ago. So some people are watching me or continue on, get the rest of the story. But so let's get this started. Episode 406, welcome to the California jungle. We'll get more into that in just a few minutes. We just got some preliminaries to take care of, which is cool. All right, so thank y'all for tuning in. If you're not a follower, and I can't believe we had 137 people watch the morning brief this morning. That was cool, man. That was cool. So click that follow button to be a follower of the podcast, and then click the like button for the show today. I really appreciate that. We have live chat. Covite for Life or Retired Rob 53 may join us. They're my two monitors. They help me out. They're really good friends of mine. But regardless, if you chime in there and chat a little bit, that's great too. I really appreciate it. Matter of fact, I'm going to start off this morning. I'm going to put an American flag in the chat, just so people know I'm alive and not Memorex, as it used to be said back in the 80s. All right, so we got that all done here. There, we got this. Okay, this is a busy month in the time of the American Revolution. We just had June 1st. They met in committee June 7th, which is just a few days from now. Virginia Delegate Richard Henry Lee is going to formally introduce a resolution for independence. So that's the next step, all right? We got other stuff than that. So in terms of the American Revolution and America 250 is that the new general that was in charge up in Canada, General John Thomas, died of smallpox in Canada. Their commanding general died, all right? So that's what happened on this day. And plus, you know what? I'm going to read as much as this I can. I may only stop halfway. Okay, so this is the letter from John Adams to Henry Knox on the 2nd of June. Dear sir, your esteemed favor of the 16th of May came to my hand a few days ago. You have laid me under obligations by your ingenious observations upon those books, upon military science, which are necessary to be procured in the present circumstances of this country. I have been a long time convinced of the utility of publishing American editions of those writers, and it is an object of sufficient importance to induce the public to be at an expense of it. But greater objects press in such numbers upon those who think for me, the public, as Lord Drummond expressed it at the time that it had been hereto neglected. I could wish that the public could be at the expense not only of the new editions of these authors, but of establishing academies for the education of young gentlemen in every branch of the military. Uh, I am fully of your sentiment. We ought to lay foundations to begin institutions in the present circumstances of this country for promoting every art, manufacture, and science which is necessary support of an independent state. We must, we must for the future stand upon our own legs. The alienation of affection between the two countries is at length so great. If the morals of the British nation and their political principles were made purer than they are, it would be scarcely possible to accomplish a cordial reunion with them, because Lord Drummond wanted a reunification with Great Britain. The votes of the Congress and the proceedings of the colonies separately must be this time have convinced you that this is the sense of America with infinitely greater unanimity than could have been accredited by many people a few months ago. Those few persons, indeed, who have attended closely to the proceedings of the several colonies for a number of years past and reflected upon the causes of this mighty contest have foreseen as such an unanimity as would take place as soon as a separation should become necessary. These are not at all surprised, while many others really are, some affected to be astonished by the phenomenon. The policy of Rome is to carry their arms to Carthage while Hannibal was at the gates of their capital. It was wise and justified by the event, and would deserve imitation if we could march into the country of our enemies. It's a long boat ride. But possessed as they are at the dominion of the sea, it is not easy for us to reach them. It is yet it is possible that a bold attempt might succeed, but we must not have yet sufficient confidence in our own power and skill to encourage enterprises of the daring, hardly kind. Such often prosper and are always glorious. But shall I give offense if I say that our arms have kept an even pace with our counsels, that both have been rather slow and irresolute? We have either our officers or men by land or sea has yet discovered that exalted courage and matured judgment, both of which are necessary for great and splendid actions. Our forces have done very well, considering very poor appointments in our infancy. But I may say to you that I wish I could see less attention to trifles and more than the great essentials of our great service, both in civil and military departments. I am no prophet. If we were not compelled by necessity before the war is over to become more men of business and less men of pleasure, I have formed great expectations from a great number of gentlemen of genius, sentiment, education of a younger sort, whom I know to be in the army, and wish the additions might be made to the number. We have some examples of magnanimity and bravery, it is true, but we have done honor to any age or country. But those have been accompanied with a want of skill or experience which entitles the hero to compassion, and at the same time he has our admiration. For my own part, for my own part, I never think of Warren or Montgomery, because both of them died in battle, without lamenting the same time that I admire, lamenting in that inexperience to which both they both owed their glory. And that was from John Adams, the second president, to Henry Knox. Colonel Henry Knox, a very experienced artillery officer. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Remember, it's America 250. All right. So we got that. And then we have the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL, which is your concealed handgun license? Jason can handle those classes, whether they're online or in person. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254-560-2023, or visit them at www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety, our priority. All right. Thank y'all very much. Onward. Here we go. The Iran update. 121 vessels have been turned back. One got hit yesterday for trying to evade the blockade. Israel and Hezbollah has agreed to end their combat. We shall see about that. Trump was furious with Bibi during a conversation he had, and there were some expletives exchanged toward Bibi about what he was doing in Lebanon, and the president was saying, "Do not attack into Beirut itself." And for some reason, the fighting stopped on the Israeli side. The Hezbollah guerrillas are still launching some drones, but Bibi stopped. So maybe that's a very positive outcome in this whole situation. Kuwait intercepted Iranian missiles yesterday, and then we also intercepted 2 and retaliated for them shooting down one of our $4 million Predator drones, which was flying, they said, in international waters. The International Atomic Energy Agency said it is possible to move uranium out of Iran. The IRGC, in which Vince said this morning, when you see Iranian state media, just think IRGC, because they control everything, okay? They attacked a vessel near Qasr, Iraq, which was, I believe, I forgot to check again, but I believe it was South Korean. All right. Iran asked Pakistan to mediate de-escalation efforts between the U.S. and Iran. Iran says it controls Hormuz. And go back to my statement about the IRGC and Iranian state media. So I do not know how you can control a 21-mile wide body of water with a fleet of mosquito boats. Call me crazy, call me naive, but I do not know how a non-destroyer class warship can control a body of water. Okay, but may I digress. Trump says a deal is still possible. Hardliners are fracturing in Iran due to the former president of Iran that resigned Sunday night or Monday morning, by him going around the spiritual leader. All right, so he was shown the door. Brent crude oil about 45 minutes ago was trading at $93.91 a barrel. And West Texas Intermediate was at $91.14 a barrel, and the stock market closed yesterday at 51,078.88, and it was up 46.42. All right. That's your Iran update. Now to the rest of the JP8 report. Excuse me. I'm going to get a cough drop, okay? If not, I'm going to go hoarse. I can feel it already. Might have to start drinking hot tea. Be like those British people we destroyed in the American Revolution. All right. So, primary day. It is primary day in California, New Jersey, New Mexico, Iowa, Montana, California, and South Dakota. Okay, I think I said that. In California, they have a jungle primary. We're going to get in that in just a second. Hence the name of the podcast for the day. All right. So President Trump has issued a series of endorsements ahead of Tuesday's primaries in California, Iowa, Montana, we already said that. But why would you issue your endorsements the night before an election? Consider most of these are, let's see, you have California, New Jersey, New Mexico are all Democrats, and they rely heavily on mail-in balloting and long absentee ballot time. So, Mr. President, accelerate that time back to the reverse a little bit. Among the candidates Trump has thrown his support behind is U.S. Representative Randy Finska from Iowa, who is seeking to become his next state's governor. So remember that. When you go to the ballot today in Iowa, vote for Randy Feenstra, okay? Feenstra. As your next governor, Randy will fight tirelessly to grow the economy, cut taxes and regulations, promote the Made in the USA, unleash American energy dominance, and champion our amazing farmers and ranchers, and they are amazing. Just open up your cabinet. If you don't see anything in there, there's something wrong, okay? Empower ethanol, keep our border secure, stop migrant crime, ensure law and order, strengthen our incredible military, veterans, and law enforcement, advance election integrity, and defend our ways under the Second Amendment. Second Amendment. It says in California, a state Trump and Republicans have routinely criticized over their majority Democrat leadership and are hoping to make gains in despite of Democrat statewide dominance. Trump has endorsed Steve Hilton, which we're going to talk about, in the governor's race. California uses a top-tier system in which all candidates appear on the same ballot, and the two highest vote getters advance to the general election regardless of party. He's a truly fine man, one who has watched all this once great state gone to blank. I don't cuss, okay? Gavin Newsom and his Democrats have absolutely horrendous job. Crime is increasing and taxes are at the highest of any state in the country, maybe the world. Steve can turn it around before it's too late, and as president, I will help him do so. With our administration working alongside the great governors like Steve Hilton, California can be better than ever. He also endorsed California Assemblyman James Gallagher, who is running for Congress, going for a promotion, as well as San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond, who is also seeking a seat in the House. Others in California received endorsements with Tom McClintock. He's in the state leadership, the House leadership. Jay Abernathy and Vince Fong, along with Kevin Lincoln, a former Stockton mayor who's running for a seat in the newly redrawn 13th Congressional District. Representative Brian Mast, Florida, also received the nod from Trump. And then also congressional endorsements went to Tom Keene of New Jersey, Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, and Chris Smith of New Jersey, as well as Troy Downing from Montana. Trump also endorsed Ashley Hinson from Iowa in her bid to replace Joni Ernst, who is retiring from the Senate. I heard earlier in the news someone said Joni Ernst is vacating her seat in the U.S. Senate. No, she's retiring. Okay, and Ashley Hinson, from what the president was saying last night, that she's going to do an excellent job when she gets elected. Also, the president endorsed Aaron Flint, who is running to represent Montana. South Dakota Attorney General Marty Jackley and Greg Cunningham, and former police chief from New Mexico. And then Trump also endorsed Senator Mike Rounds for re-election in South Dakota. In May, Trump touted victories in several candidates and backed GOP primaries or runoff elections. We already know about all that. Okay? Busy day around the country. Like I said earlier, tomorrow is going to be heavy in the politics. Okay? So we'll see. All right? All right. So California. California is not the place to be. So you load up your family and move to Texas. Okay? Texas, our Texas. All right. Thanks. So, hey, we're 20 minutes in. If you have not already clicked that like button for the podcast today, click it, please, and put a comment in the comment section for me. It may be a flag in the live chat. And then click that follow button, please. Okay? So, California. California has a unique election system. It's statewide. They call it the top two. What is it called? Officially, it is called I don't have it here. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's at the very top, people. I'm sorry. Hold on just a second here. All right. So it's officially called the top two or nonpartisan primary system. All right. So like I was saying, the top two people advance to November's general election. Established by Prop 14 in 2010, about the same time they did the nonpartisan redistricting commission, the one that California abruptly disposed of temporarily, right? Till they don't get to wait. Well, just wait. 2032, they're going to be less 6 electoral votes, so they won't have to do anything. All right. Puts all candidates in office on a single primary ballot, regardless of party. The top two vote getters advance to the general election, even if they're from the same party. While intended to reduce polarization, boost independent voter influence, and encourage broader appeal, it has drawn significant criticism, especially from me, especially now with a crowded 2026 gubernatorial field. There are 60 people running for governor, raising fears of a potential all-Republican general election matchup despite Democrats' strong registration advantage. All right, so it's vice versa too, because I saw stuff this morning that had Javier Becerra and Tom Steyer in first and second place, and then Steve Hilton in third place. Then I saw another poll that had Steve Hilton in first, and then it had what's his name, Javier Becerra in second, and Tom Steyer in third. All right, and then I saw Becerra. It's ridiculous, right? They need a Republican primary and a Democrat primary. It makes it fair across the board so your party is adequately representative, because here are the key problems with the jungle primary. Vote splitting and lockout. So you get another less important Democrat to run for office, and then you get an equally important Republican run. That means the two Republicans will split their votes, and they won't make it to the top two, and that other Democrat will make it to the number 2 position. And now you don't have you don't have a Republican represented in the balloting, or vice versa, right? A party with many candidates can fragment its vote, allowing the opposing party to take both top spots. In a heavily Democrat California, a large field of Democrats risk letting 2 Republicans advance in November, potentially shutting Democrats out of statewide for governor, which it's not happening because Chad Bianco is not doing too hot right now. He's like polling about 10 or 11%. He's a really good person. He knows what he's talking about, but he's not as popular as Steve Hilton is right now. Matter of fact, Steve Hilton, his campaign was busily trying to convince Chad to suspend his campaign before today. Next bullet is same party general elections. Voters often face 2 candidates from the same party. This leaves supporters of the other major party with no real choice aligned with their values, which critics call fundamentally unfair and disenfranchising. So if you did something like that in Texas, and you had like 2 Democrats in going off, right, the undervotes for that race would be tremendous. I would love. Okay, I don't want to see this happen, but if it just happened, like in the mayor's race in California, or the governor's race in California, and there was 2 Democrats at the top ticket in November, I can imagine what the undervote would be, because there's no way I would ever vote for a Democrat at all. Orphan voters. Okay, this is the next poll. Orphan voters. Those whose party has no candidate in the general election may abstain. That's called an undervote. Primary turnout is often low, averaging 37%. That's extremely high. And the system can discourage participation overall, since party nominations aren't guaranteed. And it harms third-party candidates because they have no traction at all, because they're buried. Strategic manipulation. Parties or campaigns sometimes recruit spoiler candidates to split the opposition vote or encourage cross-party voting. They create confusion, favor name recognition, polling over qualifications, and lead to unpredictable outcomes, which is what's happening right now too. All right. And so a ballot initiative, this is the cure for it. A ballot initiative has been filed to repeal the top 2 system and return to party-based primaries, possibly by 2030, backed by figures across parties who argue the experiment has failed after 15 years. Supporters of the system highlight more competitive primaries and some reduction in extreme partisanship, but critics, including party leaders, argue the drawbacks like disenfranchisement and instability and outweigh them, particularly one-party dominant state. All right, so that's the jungle primary. Like, welcome to the jungle, because that's exactly what it is. It's cutthroat. It is totally cutthroat. All right, hold on just a second here. All right, so next, Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of Los Angeles. He he was going all over LA trying to get extra votes and stuff for the day's balloting. So in California, the polls are open from 7 a.m. Pacific, which would be 30 minutes. The polls open in California. All right. So, and they got voting centers now, and you can take and drop your ballot in because they mail ballots to everyone in California now, which is crazy. I was talking to y'all yesterday about some lady that got arrested when she turned herself in because she mailed her dead mom's mail-in ballot in. Thankfully, they caught it. It was in Illinois, I believe. Waukegan, Illinois. So 7 a.m. Pacific to 10 p.m. Pacific are the polls in California. All right. So go vote for Spencer Pratt and go vote for Steve Hilton. All right. Los Angeles Mayor hopeful Spencer Pratt had a sinister warning in his final pitch to voters on the eve of the election. Los Angeles has either votes for Pratt or it votes for death. Pratt told California Post on Monday, the greatest city on earth hangs in the balance. Pratt spent his final stretch of his campaign traveling across Los Angeles, including holding community events and meeting directly with voters. The candidate stopped by a community barbecue in Baldwin Hills Saturday after residents invited him to visit the neighborhood. That's pretty cool. But Texas barbecue is better than California barbecue. If you agree with that, put something in the live chat. If you like Texas barbecue more than other people's barbecue, I love Texas barbecue. I can smoke. I'm pretty good at it, which is different than barbecue. I know. Hold on just a second. So, breaking news. Trump announces pick for acting director of national intelligence. Great. Hold on just a second. I want to get the name of it and let y'all know who the president just announced. Hold it. Okay. So the president announced Tuesday he has named Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte acting director of national intelligence, replacing Tulsi Gabbard. William has deep experience managing the most sensitive matters in America. And okay, he is going to be the acting director. It doesn't look like he nominated him. Nope. Okay. It's just, okay, I'm still alive, I think. It's just an acting director nomination. Okay. Or appointment. Okay, 150 people attended. It's 8:32. So, look, I can go over this over again. I spent extra time reading this a while ago. Spencer Pratt is the element of change. He may not be versed in all the political rhetoric like Karen Bass is. Yeah, he was a TV star. Okay, I was a carpenter and a soldier. I won my first election for city council back in 2015. I didn't have no experience. I wasn't one of those P&Z people. I wasn't on the board of adjustments. I wasn't the chief dog catcher for the city. I ran for office and I got elected because I was mad. He's the same way. He lost his house. His house burned to the ground. And he ran headache after headache after headache trying to rebuild it. And he just said, I'm done. And he challenged her. It's a three-way race. We'll find out tonight. But the problem tonight is with the mail-in ballot thing that they got for California, if you have till the night to get your ballot postmarked, put in the mail, and they have 7 days to receive it to be able to count it. Okay? So this election may not be over with for a week. How crooked is that? It's absolutely nonsense. Ballots should be counted tonight. If they're not here, they should have mailed them a week ago, because they should have. That is totally unacceptable behavior of our country to allow people to process ballots after Election Day. It's Election Day, not election week, not election month. It's Election Day. This is doing him a disservice. Same thing with Steve Hilton. Steve Hilton says, now or never for California. What's to stop him from having a landslide victory tonight, and over the course of 7 days, watches his lead shrink and shrink and shrink and then reverse? And Javier Becerra and Tom Steyer come in first and second place, and he's left holding the bag. That's not right. Election day, not election week. Like I said, balloting, the voting machines open up in 25 minutes in California. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. It's almost 7. It's 6:35. Oh yeah, I'm right. 7 a.m. Yeah, 25 minutes. Balloting opens up in California. So go vote. Give them a chance. Steve Hilton, leading the Republican candidate for California governor, told California Post he's feeling confident but not complacent heading into Tuesday's primary election. It's now or never for California. Don't let this chance for change slip away. If you've already voted, spend some time hassling everyone you know to get out and vote. Hilton will also serve as an advisor to David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, is trying to consolidate Republican independent support in a crowded primary field, 60 candidates, to succeed term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom. And he said he vowed to investigate Gavin Newsom for fraud as his first act as California governor if he wins the election on Monday. He showed everyone a signed memorandum for an executive order initiating the investigation. I know it's just a display, right? But he means business, because if he gets elected, the first executive order he's going to sign is put Gavin Newsom under investigation for the train to nowhere, which is nowhere. All the money that was wasted in Medicare, Medicaid, all the money that was in their EFT stuff, all the taxpayer dollars that went to green energy firms that just disappeared. I heard, I was listening to Vince before I came on air, right? And if you get a chance, go back and watch him. He interviewed Kelly Loeffler, right? Kelly Loeffler, she's administrator for the Small Business Administration. And they were talking that so many of these PPP, Paycheck Protection Program during COVID, right? I got one for my company, and I was sweating because I feel like that was like they're not. Mine was like for $10,000, right? And it's completely forgivable. Cause that was cool. Cause well, they said it might be, right, but it ended up being totally forgivable. And I'm at there thinking, I'm within a week and a half and not having no money to pay my employees. I'm gonna have to shut down. And I applied and got approved for it. And then you hear these stories about people that had little fiefdoms set up to where they could steal billions of dollars from the American taxpayer to take away from companies like mine so they can manipulate and feed green money into political campaigns to manipulate the system and get elected. You had crooks out there running around doing that junk, and they got caught. They got caught. And I'm wondering how I had to do it. I had a formula from Bank of America I had to fill out. And so I'm like, how did they do it? Because I had to fill out this form, and I had to tell what my payroll was, how many employees I had, if they're part-time or full-time. And it would tell me exactly how much money I was able to receive in the PPP. And I'm like, how am I going to survive? That'll give me uh, 2 months worth of 2 months worth of payroll if I was lucky. And these guys were doing nothing. I mean, seriously. I mean, they shut down everything around, even in Texas. And at the time, we were considered, well, we thought we were non-essential. So these guys were sitting at home collecting a paycheck while we were doing nothing. It was unbelievable. And then I got an SBA loan, which is a whole different world. And oh my goodness, we were, let's see, I'll tell you a quick story before I go on. We were a week and a half from going under. And this was first week of May. And I had decided, I was like, I don't care. I'll take the consequences. I consider myself essential. We're starting remodel projects again. I had told my people we're starting to work on Monday no matter what. I care less. And I got an email that night from the governor's office that all construction companies are considered essential. And I'm like, for the whole time, I was twiddling my thumb, doing nothing. We were like a week away from having no money, going under, no way, couldn't make any loan payments, nothing, right? And we got an SBA loan, and it's like it helped us survive for a while longer, man. But these crooks out there driving Ferraris, having these vacation homes, and going on these extravagant trips, funding political campaigns, and they just ripping us Americans off and stealing us left and right. And they tell us, those Democrats telling us that we should feel grateful for that junk, for them doing that to us and trying to make us wear masks and get shots and stealing taxpayer dollars. You know, if why someone would willfully vote for Democrats is beyond even grasping the reality of that, because it's stupid. Why we even tolerate people doing that. This deal, I got a letter in here that I was going to read. I'll just physically tell you about it. Let me pull it out so I know not to. Where is it? Well, we got that one we can talk about. Oh, yeah, here it is. The $2 billion anti-weaponization fund, which has been on the official books of the United States government since the 1950s. It was just out of funds, and the president was going to use the settlement from the IRS, which is procured government money, right? $10 billion was going to go into this fund to allow, $1.776 billion was going to go into this fund for just people that were erroneously prosecuted by the federal government, so we can repay their legal expenses and the expenses that took them away from the workplace while they were being prosecuted erroneously. And our Republican senators blew a gasket over it. And the Democrats just getting their way, thumbing their nose at us Republicans, because they stuck it to us again in a fund that's been around for 70 years. 70 years. And the the president's tax returns were released to the public, and part of the settlement, because he sued the IRS for that, was to take that money and take it and then help pay legal expenses for people that were mistakenly prosecuted. I think it's a really good idea. I have no idea why they're challenging it. I mean, sometimes politics is stupid, but this was a good use of that money. It was, totally. And that makes you want to run for Congress to get these people out of there. Tell the president, I'll support you the whole way. All right. But yeah, so as you know, the Department of Justice under Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, I think he's making, they're appealing it, but they're going to make a recommendation that the fund be done away with. But right now they're appealing it, and hopefully it'll go through. But that's another thing. I'm glad I remember that now. You got these activist judges out there making these rulings against the president still after almost 2 years in office, or about a year and a half in office, and they keep sticking it to our president, and rulings that get overturned on appeal or to the Supreme Court, when all we need to do is, Senator Grassley, please, you should be the other senator retiring from office and not Joni Ernst. She's not as conservative as we want, but but what we need in our Senate is to do away with the filibuster and do away with the blue slips. The blue slips make this junk possible, right? So you can put people in these Democrat states, they can put Democrat judges in their justice systems, in our justice systems, so they can manipulate the system. So you go judge shopping, right? Should be based on merit. We have an opening for a judge. We need a conservative judge. He needs to go to New Jersey. Let's send him to New Jersey. Well, Cory Booker or Andy Kim just pull his blue slip and say, I object, and that nomination's dead. Ask Alina Habba, because she's not a federal judge or a U.S. attorney in New Jersey, because they did that to her. All right. Where am I at on here? Okay, there. We talked about that, and we talked about that. EPA. This came out this morning. Lee Zeldin, he's on a tear right now. Do me a favor if you're listening still. Click that like button and click the follow button for me, please, okay? You don't have to chat. Just hit that follow button or hit that like button for me. Say hello if you want to chat. That'd be cool, all right? I put an American flag in earlier. So Lee Zeldin said he made several criminal complaints after uncovering, you are not going to believe this, John. This is unbelievable. All right? Uncovering a major political enrichment scandal that routed billions of Biden-era green energy grants to Democrat cronies. And he's quoted, it's about self-dealing, like drug dealing. Lee Zeldin told Just the News. He said he's canceled or stopped about $29 billion in EPA grants, not loans, but grants. That's free money stuff, okay? Because you don't have to show no accountability. It's a grant. Crazy, right? Including one for $2 billion to a nonprofit to longtime Georgia Democrat election activist and failed gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. I almost said something else. After unmasking a series of pass-through groups, think of that as like an LLC, okay? Used to route taxpayer monies to the politically connected. $29 billion he found. $2 billion went to her. As you look through all these pass-through entities, you're seeing so many connections to former Obama and Biden officials and Democrat donors, people who were former cabinet members, other high ranking administration officials, he said during a wide ranging interview on Monday with John Sullivan Reports. I was just saying the same thing about Kelly Loeffler with the SBA. Same thing happened through that. So much fraudulent money went out, and there was no accountability until now. Lee Zeldin said he has referred several of the transactions to the EPA's Inspector General, the agency's chief watchdog, and the Justice Department for possible prosecution and further investigation. Those referrals have been made. Zeldin said some of the allegations have their roots in legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act, when Congress and the White House were all in Democrat hands. They included all the funding in this so-called Greenhouse Reduction Fund, and then they would work through these different agencies of the Biden administration to get it out to their unqualified friends. The whole thing just feels criminal, he said. This clearly is something that falls into the category of blatant waste and abuse. Zeldin has repeatedly singled out the Biden administration's $2 billion grant to Power Forward Communities, a nonprofit tied to former Democrat candidate Stacey Abrams. The funds were awarded in 2024, in the waning days of the Biden administration, to finance residential decarbonation. Yeah, you fix that, you plant more trees. But what they did, they were replacing gas furnaces with electric ones, right? Plant more trees, man. Abrams reportedly played a pivotal role in establishing the group, according to Fox News. The award came under scrutiny after it was revealed Power Forward Communities had reported only $100 the year of the award. Wow. The Trump administration, the EPA, announced in February 2025 it was taking measures to get the money back as part of an overall effort to claw back funding rush out the door in the final days of the Biden administration. Abrams, who worked for a group called Vitalizing DeSoto, was tied to Power Forward, has vehemently denied any wrongdoing, saying the grant was intended to help homeowners buy eco-friendly appliances. Dishwashers that don't really wash dishes, washing machines that don't really wash your clothes because the requirements inside those machines are so strict that they can't properly clean the stuff you try to put in them, right? Based on that program, and a coalition of organizations, famous organizations, came out and said to the EPA, if we can do this here, we can do this for millions more Americans, she explained in 2025. Let us invest the money of America in lowering the cost for Americans. But at the same time, those specialty appliances like dishwashers and washing machines and hot water heaters were all more expensive. They cost Americans more and raised their electric bills even higher because they were all electric. It required more voltage use in them. All right. Judicial Watch has sued to 853. Okay. Y'all get the okay, so I'm going to go over this. EPA, before I get to the next part, EPA has asked the IG to investigate, providing it in a letter transactions that raise concerns, including Jolly Wise, the former director of Greenhouse Gas and Reductions Fund, personally oversaw a $5 billion grant to his previous employer. That called that unethical, right? $2 billion was given to Abrams-tied power-forward communities. Young, Gifted, and Green was awarded $20 million, even though its CEO applied for funding while serving on the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. How do you justify that? That's a conflict of interest. How in the world that guy was the CEO, was serving on the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. He was actively employed and got 20 mil and wasted it. I bet he bought himself a $10 million house. Crazy. Hold on just a second. 6:54. Let me get this stuff going here. Just a second. I got to get my stuff ready. We'll go over a couple more things. We might talk about Oyster Boy a little bit. All right. Do I want to talk about Oyster Boy? Oyster Boy is still on Kick, if you did not know. If you're looking for him on Kick, he's still there. All right? Because he's been on there since 2019 or 2018. 70% of the users on Kick are between 13 and 24 years old. And this guy wants to be a U.S. Senator from Maine, which he's crooked, he's unethical. Man, I ain't saying he's perfect. People make mistakes. But this guy, after he got married, was sexting people. Unbelievable. Why would you like that? Janet Mills this morning put out on X or something like that she still has an active campaign and they can actually vote for her. And then Mr. Plattner, Oyster Boy, has to go to D.C. and talk to Senate leadership today about his campaign. Do us all a favor. Don't vote for him. Please don't. All right? Alrighty. If you did not know, James Clapper signed off on the fake intelligence paperwork in 2020 about the Biden laptop and how the Russia influence operation to help Donald Trump get elected, but it was a false op. It was initiated by Clapper, and that I forgot. I think someone pressed charges on him. You know what? I'm going to go back over this tomorrow morning. What time we got here? It's 8:57. Yeah, I'm out of time. All right. So Thursday, if you're in Central Texas, you want to go to a really good event with good Republicans there, go to the Dead Fish Grill, Belton. It's by Belton Dam, right? On Lake Road. It starts at 6 p.m. It's with Chip Howe. Good conservative politics going on there. All right. So Thursday, 6 p.m., Dead Fish Grill, Belton, Texas. All right. Next, Copper's Cove Conservative Club. The group I founded about 5 years ago. We are having our monthly social at Giovanni's in Copper's Cove at 6 p.m. on June 9th. All right. Be there, please. All right. We have the GOP convention going on from June 11th to June 13th. And on June 13th also, or June 12th, that Saturday is also a special election, runoff election in Harker Heights. Go vote for Michael Bloomquist for mayor of Harker Heights for his reelection. Don't vote for the Democrat Linda Nash. All right. So that is the JP8 report that I had time to go over with today. I still didn't finish everything, right? I will see y'all tomorrow morning, JP's morning brief. And we'll have election stuff in there, plus stuff that I need to cover. Hopefully we have some remediation going on in Iran. We'll find out, right? So, but thank y'all very much. I'm going to attempt to raid us over to the Dan Bongino show. The raid wasn't working earlier, so we'll see if it does it this time. So I'm going to go ahead and put my end screen out. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. I am out. And the raid went through, so you have 8 seconds. See y'all later, alligator. I'm out.